All right, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of trading, smart money. And honestly, it's probably the most costly misunderstanding a trader can have.
Most traders hear the term smart money, and they immediately think it's some kind of secret, complex strategy, a hidden formula that only the pros on Wall Street know about.
But the truth is, it's really not.
And that single, simple misunderstanding is pretty much the reason why so many traders keep losing money, why they constantly find themselves on the wrong side of a trade over and over again.
So let's dive in and break down what this misunderstanding actually is, and we'll see why just copying the patterns you see all over social media is often a recipe for disaster.
I mean, if you spent more than 5 minutes on trading YouTube or Twitter, you've seen this stuff. It's just a dizzying maze of complicated setups with all these fancy acronyms: BOS, CHOCH, FVG, order blocks. The list goes on. And it's all presented like it's some secret map to perfect entries.
But here's the problem, right? So many traders, they learn all these terms, they find what looks like a textbook setup, they put on the trade, and price just whips right against them. They get trapped. It's an unbelievably frustrating cycle.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue. The mistake isn't that you're seeing the wrong patterns. The real mistake is just copying shapes on a chart without understanding the intent, the why behind those shapes forming in the first place.
And that brings us to the real institutional problem. To actually understand what smart money is, you have to get your head around the #1 challenge that big banks and hedge funds face. And it all comes down to a single word: liquidity.
So first, let's just get a clear definition. Smart money isn't some secret society. It's simply the massive, and I mean massive, amount of capital that institutional players control. Their orders are so big that they literally can, and do, move the entire market. And here's their big problem, laid out plain and simple. For retail traders like us, our orders are tiny. We can just click buy or sell and we get filled instantly. But an institution trying to place a billion-dollar order, they can't just click a button. For them to buy, there has to be someone else out there willing to sell them that same huge amount at that exact same price. They need an opposing side for their trade.
And that is liquidity. It's just the pool of all the buy and sell orders that are waiting in the markets. So where does this liquidity tend to build up? Well, it clusters in the most obvious places you can imagine, right above recent highs and right below recent lows. And why there? Because that's exactly where millions of retail traders have put their stop-loss orders.
This brings us to the core aha moment of this whole thing, the real reason that price moves the way it does.
So, here it is, the key idea behind this entire explainer. Price isn't just moving randomly. It moves with a very specific purpose. It moves from one area of liquidity to the next.
Just let that sink in for a second. Price action is not there to reward you for spotting a cool pattern. Its main job is to trigger other people's orders. It's there to create and then capture the liquidity that the big institutions need. So when you see price suddenly spike above an obvious high, that's not usually a sign of strength. It's a hunt for fuel. The whole process follows this simple 3-step playbook. Step 1, inducement. They create a setup that looks so obvious it practically begs retail traders to jump in. Step 2, capture. They push the price just far enough to hit all of those stop losses, which gives them the liquidity they need to fill their massive positions. And then, step 3, move. Now that their orders are filled, price is free to move in the real direction they intended all along.
So understanding this logic, it requires a complete mental shift in how you see the market. It's about changing the way you look at the chart completely.
And this is a really, really important point. Smart money is not just another setup that you can memorize. It is a framework, a way of thinking about price. It's a brand new lens for analyzing why the market is doing what it's doing.
And this shift in thinking completely changes the questions you ask yourself. You stop asking, where's a good spot for me to enter? And you start asking a much more powerful question. Where are all the other traders trapped? Where is the liquidity?
To make this even clearer, here's a really simple but powerful metaphor to keep in mind.
Think of the market as a giant engine. Liquidity is the fuel for that engine. And who provides the fuel? Well, retail traders do, with all their stop-loss orders in predictable places. And who's driving the car? The institutions. They use that fuel to move price wherever they need it to go. Once you start seeing the market that way, the charts start to tell a totally different story.
So, what's the practical takeaway from all this? How does this actually change your approach to trading?
The answer is really simple, but it's profound. Once you truly understand that the market is a game of liquidity, you just stop chasing trades. That fear of missing out starts to disappear. And instead, you develop patience. You learn to wait for the market to show its hand, for the trap to be set and for the trap to be sprung. You start waiting for clarity.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. What do you think would happen to your trading if you stopped looking for the perfect textbook entry and instead you started looking for the clearest, most obvious trap being set for other traders?
If this explanation helped you see the market with a little more clarity, consider subscribing. Every single video we make is designed to do just that, help you understand how and why price really moves without all the usual hype you see out there.